So, looking at the chapter, the article written on by the officer, by the chartered accountant, it is repugnant because the corruption, according to me, is what we create. The Frankenstein, or what we call in our epics, the Bhasmasura, is created by us. Yes, there will be, minor faults which we cause, and consequently, the government takes action on us. But I'm sure the courts are there to back us up. If there are minor flaws, consequently to which the government is taking action on us, there is always a court which comes to our support. Starting from I'm able to see a lot of wonderful decisions in the tribunals, especially if you take the income tax tribunals. There's a lot of wonderful decisions in favor of the, assessee, fantastic decisions. And I'm sure that if there's a special tribunal which will be set up shortly by the government for regarding GST, there will be a lot of cases in favor of the assessee. So let us not worry about the minor infractions which we cause. Let us look at how the major infractions cause us the problem. Because when that happens, when we corrupt the system, and when the system gets rotten, we are not able to face it as business people. So let us make the corrections amongst ourselves, the business people. When we make the corruption, when we correct ourselves, we will be able to save ourselves a lot of problems. So just imagine a case which drags on for 5-10 years in courts of laws, going up to the Supreme Court, and finally whether we don't know the decision is going to come in our favor of or not. The amount of interest, money locked up, because today you can go to an appeal only if you pay so much of tax. The government has brought in the law, the legal system has agreed to, fraternity has agreed to it. So you have to pay 50%, that 50% locked up for the next 10 years. Just imagine, suppose you're going to lock up 2 crores for 10 years. Legal fees, transportation fees to appear in a court every time by the lawyer, adjournments by the government, adjournments by yourself, all the cost structure. Is it worthwhile? Think about it before you take the next step forward. That is what I would say about my conclusion. Corruption is caused not by the government, because there's no word as known as the corruption in the constitution. It is caused because of our repugnant activities, and also minor infractions which some people take advantage of, which you can't protect yourself from. But the majority of the cases is what we cause, and we bring it upon ourselves. So let us take let us start at the very beginning, and let us make a beginning today, that we will try to keep things moving smooth and keep things, introduce systems which will protect our interest, and those systems, when exposed, will expose the person who's harassing you. So I'm sure, as things take shape, with a lot of technology being brought in, things will take its own shape and things will move forward. That is my take on this corruption. And I'm not agreeing with the thoughts of that chartered accountant, though I am a chartered accountant myself. I fully disagree with all the viewpoints expressed by the chartered accountant in all the thought process, because corruption is not a part of our constitution, and corruption is not a part of the human system. Corruption is a part when we, create that Frankenstein, and that comes to haunt us. So nothing haunts us. Haunting starts only when we start, playing with the world of misery. So let us take a step forward and improve ourselves to be not a cause for corruption. So the next point which I was trying to, as a discussion point which I tried to make is that There's a lot of talk about this. Recently I saw talk about once again on the harassment of the people with regard to the petroleum prices. Now, the whole there is a world. The world is largest country is boycotting India and put tariffs on India because of oil prices. See the tremendous amount of pressure the government has to go through to purchase oil is a very, it's a significant problem. You are having the US, the President of the United States, threatening to put 100% tariffs, 50% tariffs on supplies made by India because we are buying oil at the cheapest price from another country. Now, when we are finding difficult to source oil because of the world sanctions, Indians are so selfish to say that we are not being given prices and the petrol prices are very high. And they compared themselves to prices in Nepal and Bhutan, etc. A very sad thing which we must look at. Let us address the issue clearly. See, oil is we are importing 22 lakh crores worth of oil every year in India. 22 lakh crores. Can you imagine that figure at all? That is the figure which is costing India every year. And this 22 lakh crore is a discounted price. When you imagine if there's undiscounted price at the olden times of the, when we are going for the market prices, then you can imagine the amount of money which India would have spent on buying oil. Now, is that oil being used to wastefully? No. That oil is being used for so much activities in India. Now, I would like to break it up in a different format. India imports oil. It does not have its own resources. And therefore, it tries to beg, borrow and, get the oil at the cheapest prices at which the government is able to pay for the oil. Now, we are having another problem. We are having a problem of the payment. Because that government is not willing to accept certain forms of payment, we are incurring, they are willing to accept the form of payment which we decree. And today, that is also entering into a form of conflict. Because, for example, we are importing from Russia. We are importing oil from Russia, and Russia is able to, we were able to deal with it in rupees. Now, Russia has got a huge balance with us with regard to balance of payments with us with regard to rupees as compared to the oil. The rupee is not internationally traded. It is not internationally traded currency like the US dollar or neither the yuan or the euro. It is not so powerful. It is still a weak currency. We should accept it. Now, in spite of that, because of the goodwill of Russia, they are willing to accept rupees and accumulate those rupees and we buy it in when we get we get the oil from Russia. Shouldn't we also think about it when the government is, literally, I would say, being saved by a country, should we also contribute to helping our country? Just imagine, that oil is not only used for our commercial vehicles like scooters, trucks and for cars. It is, you must imagine, we are outflanked. We are having on the west, we have a terrorist country which is always, creating problems, fermenting problems. And on the east, only now we have slowly tried to protect our interest with another country. So when we have those crucial problems, and we are always watchful, Then, because we have to keep ourselves watchful, because of the reason that our country is so vulnerable, and that vulnerability should not be exploited. We should, strengthen the hands of the government by saying, yes, we will sacrifice for the future. I'll continue later.